Guess what, everybody? We're back with videos. This is gonna be
About
our
to get
late.
wild.
This is gonna be our late call segment. We're gonna do a bunch of playoff predictions, and we're gonna start off with way back in week 2. We made playoff predictions. Usually we do it week 1, but I don't know. We're kind of all over the place at the beginning of the season. So we did week 2 playoff predictions, and we're gonna compare notes of how close we are to those. So should we start in the NFC since NFC is kind of our home turf first?
Yeah, I'll just talk with my biggest fuck up right now. I picked Atlanta, and hey, they were 5-0, and then they dropped the ball. Like I had Carolina challenging. I don't think I picked them for the wild card either, which is in retrospect. But
Right.
I was judging a lot, and Atlanta had put some shit together and looked like they had a good team, and for
Well, we
five
went.
weeks it looked like they had a good team.
Yeah.
But they didn't even make the playoffs. They didn't even challenge really. So,
I actually picked Carolina to win the NFC South. So, uh, should we keep a
didn't really
little?
know what the
Should
fuck
we
I'm
keep a little score
talking
counter
about.
here? Should we do a little? See how?
I think he beat me, all right, but you can do that.
Okay, so I got one
Okay.
on that. Um. All right. Well, you want to go up to the north where we both got one?
Yeah, we both missed this one.
Yeah. Well,
I
actually,
think a lot of people missed this one though.
we both picked the Packers, but I mean, I think everybody was picking the Packers to win the division this year.
It came down to the last week. Whatever. It
Yeah.
came down to what, 7 points, 8, something. The division. Well, I
Yeah.
don't remember what the final score of the game was, but I know it was like a one-score game. So,
Yeah, I think it was 20-13, so it was just
yeah,
it would have been
we were off by 7 points.
whatever. So okay,
Yeah.
no points granted to either one of us on that one. That honestly could have been one of the I shouldn't say the biggest upset, the most, but it was kind of unexpected for the Vikings to just
Yeah.
kind of sneak in there.
We mentioned them as a challenger, which we'll get to wild card picks, but
Yeah.
we didn't think they were going to threaten the actual division.
So for the West, I had the Cardinals, so I'll get a point for
I
that.
I did too.
All right. Are you keeping track of your points?
I'm keeping track of the differential,
Okay.
and I'm down one. So
Okay.
yeah,
So I mean,
that was they won that easy. So
yeah, they won it easy, and you know what? Realistically, Cardinals were eligible to win that division last year, but pretty much as soon as Carson Palmer went down with his injury and everything, like it just kind of
yeah,
sort of the team.
I think Seattle had a better year last year, and so the slow start and Arizona having like nine, pretty much gave them the advantage in the division.
Yeah, yeah. The East, our bet was completely nulled for our wrong decision.
Uh,
I
which
picked
is
the
funny because the bet is the opposite of what we actually would pick.
Yeah, yeah. I picked the Cowboys in the East. You picked the Giants, and
Yeah.
obviously we had that whole bet. So Redskins end up taking that division and everything. Um, I had him ranked as the number 5 seed, but as a wild card, I don't know if you want to count that or not count that as a point. But as a wild card, I had Seattle, which
Yeah,
I mean,
it doesn't matter.
would you count that as a point because I had them at 5 and they're a 6 seed? I don't know.
I mean, we both did we do 5 and 6?
We didn't officially, but I'm just saying,
Uh,
like, I.
I mean, we both picked them for the wild card, so I don't know.
Okay. So that's another point.
We were rolling on the other wild card slot too.
Because you had Cowboy, or you had Giants, and then I had, or no, you had Cowboys and I
I
had
had Cowboys,
Giants.
you had Giants.
Yeah.
It was the Vikings who we mentioned could potentially fuck our projections open. They did
Yeah.
bad, actually.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought honestly when the season was progressing, and if you look back on like the older videos, which I'm not asking anybody to go archive that or anything, but in earlier videos, like as the season progressed, I said that the Vikings were going to steal the wild card from Seattle, and then I was figuring that Packers were going to win the division, and then assuming that like anybody else would have taken than the other wild card. I mean, it didn't work out that way, but for a little while, that was a very good possibility. Just the way that the teams were
It's just
playing.
too bad that wasn't the prediction. You might have got like half credit for this.
Right, right.
But yeah, so that was Packers obviously, and I mean we both picked the Packers, just not for a wild card.
Yeah.
So,
And
what else?
well, so out of the six teams in the NFC, I got 3 points. So I guess I was half right. 50
I was down one.
Yeah.
We both completely fucked up the East. We had the North kind of reversed a little bit.
Yeah.
I underestimated the Vikings a little bit. Had the West pretty much locked down, and I completely fucked up the every fucking weekend.
I don't think I underestimated the Vikings. I knew they were good enough to make the playoffs. The Packers just didn't perform the second half as well as I thought they would. So
AFC.
AFC, do you want to start just straight from the north?
Fucking Steelers, right?
I had the Steelers as well. And
Yeah,
the
and they
Bengals.
made the postseason, just not the division.
Yeah. So I had Steelers winning it. Would things have been different if Ben Roethlisberger didn't get hurt? Maybe, but you know what? Bengals had a hell of a season, so maybe not. Maybe
They did.
maybe Steelers would have been 11-5, and Bengals would have been 12-4 and still winning that division. So maybe not.
I could have seen them having a coming down to a tiebreaker, maybe the same record.
Right.
Of course.
But then again, they both won and lost against each other, so I don't know. That would have been closer than it was, I guess.
It was still just like 2 games, right?
Yeah, I think so.
The
West, I had Denver.
Yeah, me too. And
So,
they won.
Yeah, it kind of dominated that division as they have been for the past few years.
Right. The East, I'm pretty sure we both picked the Patriots.
Patriots, yeah.
And then the shocker of the season was the South. For multiple reasons. I think the biggest one was that luck got, because they were in the running even late in the season.
Yeah.
But without a quarterback, there was hope. And so they didn't even make the playoffs, which is crazy because we had them pegged as potential Super Bowl contenders before the season started.
Yeah. On paper, Colts looked deadly before the season started, and a lot of things went wrong throughout the entire season.
Well, Pagano's going to get another chance.
Yeah, now he's going to get a chance. He signed a 4-year contract.
Yeah, he's going to get a few chances.
Yeah. I like Pagano, though, so
yeah.
I'm glad he's not fired, but is he worth a 4-year contract? I don't know.
I think it's just to keep him from shopping. They can probably fire him before that. I don't know what the details are.
Yeah, that's true. So, what else? Is it wild cards next?
Yeah.
Well, we both had Buffalo as a wild card. Who didn't make it?
They had an alright year, but yeah, they did.
Right.
And I also had the Jets, who obviously last week, or the playoffs, didn't make it. But even if they had, it would have been at the expense of the Steelers, who were my other pick.
Yeah.
Another pick. So I would have missed one either way.
Oh, yeah, I suppose.
So, doesn't matter.
I had the Bengals as a wild card, so I knew they're good enough to make the playoffs. I just didn't realize that the Bengals and the Steelers would be flip-flopping positions.
I'm going to give you like half-point credit for that, and we're going to say you beat me by 1.5.
Yeah. Okay.
On predictions. The biggest one, hilariously, being my home division. What gave you the win? Like the 1-point lead.
Yeah. So
anyway,
if we're gonna do by point, if I'm gonna get I had 5 picks correct, 0.5. You're gonna give me a half point for that. So out of 12 teams, I didn't even make 500 for the playoffs. I was like that. I'm that close for making even 500.
Maybe another half a point for the Steelers, because we did pick them going. Well, if you look at the teams that we picked, the order might have been messed up, but the actual teams, I mean, the AFC was the Patriots, the Broncos, and the Steelers all went on my end.
Yeah.
You got half of them, man. You got 4 of them. The Chiefs ended up fucking everything up for us.
I know. Yeah, literally on the AFC side, all the teams that besides you, all the teams that
Right.
I said were gonna make the playoffs all made it besides Buffalo, just replacing with the Chiefs, and I would have been all correct on that.
Well, the Colts.
Oh yeah, and the Colts.
So it was two. So you got four of them. I got three of them.
Yeah,
And then on the NFC side, you got. Did we only miss?
I got 4 on that too.
Four. Was it just four? No, it was. Yeah, it was Carolina. You had Green Bay going in though, right?
Yeah, the reason
They
the
just found a
only two
wild.
teams are the Cowboys and the Giants, and neither one made the
That's right.
playoffs.
That's fucking. That's in Seattle. So I don't know. We got about half the teams right, roughly. Just not in the right order.
Right.
So I don't know. That's from week two. That's decent record. I feel like because a lot of shit happens over the course of the season.
Right. Right.
So I'm
I,
not ashamed.
we've been doing this for what, like
I'm a little
5 years?
ashamed. I'm a little ashamed.
That's your own
I'm not
beef.
ashamed.
You have to deal with that the rest of your life now.
I am happy they didn't make it. So
I guess.
I was just trying to be objective. I really thought they were gonna make it.
Well, you and I have been making these predictions like 5 years now, I think.
Yeah.
Just me and you have been doing it. Like, and we always do this. It's like week one, we make our predictions, and then we always compare them at the very end of the season to see how accurate we are. And um,
I wish we had done it last year because I think we got the entire AFC right.
yeah, I think you're right. I think like even like wild cards and everything. Like we
Yeah.
picked like the entire thing
We had
correct.
the Bengals and the Ravens in the wild card slot.
Yeah,
And then everyone. It's because the AFC is usually got heavy favorites.
right. That
Colts,
is true.
Broncos, Steelers, Patriots.
And they've been heavy like favorites for like the past 10 years now.
Oh,
So
yeah, look at the last. Was it starting from '01? I think every AFC champion involved Roethlisberger, Manning, or Brady, except for the one that, and then the one that the one Oakland made it.
yeah, what was
So
that?
there
Two
was only
thousand
two Super Bowls
two.
in like almost 15 years that had just the same three quarterbacks in the AFC.
Yeah,
So they've been dominant. At least those three guys. It's kind of an understatement.
right.
So, yeah. Anyways,
Anyways, so oops, I have
it's
to
a
put my
wild.
mouse on the screen. So we can talk about now the actual teams in the playoffs and our predictions of who we think are gonna actually win these games. Since we were just talking about the AFC, do you want to talk about the AFC a little more?
Yeah, let's knock them out first.
So let's look at
We're gonna
the.
go backwards.
So we're gonna do a little thing where
Or is the AFC Saturday and the NFC Sunday? I forget.
the AFC is Saturday.
AFC
and
is Saturday. So yeah, let's go in order then.
yeah, okay.
So the first game is Houston
And Chiefs and Texans.
Chiefs.
Who do you think is gonna win and why?
Who do I think is gonna win?
Yeah.
Honestly, I think the Chiefs are gonna win because they both have really great defenses. Houston's probably a little bit better, at least the way they've been playing lately.
Mm-hmm.
But the Chiefs also have an offense.
Yeah.
They have a quarterback that's playing all right, and I don't want to hate on Alex Smith, but when he's like the obvious edge, you have a pretty fucked up situation at quarterback. I mean, really, if you're like, man, Alex Smith way better than our guy, that's not good.
that is kind of true. Alex Smith, if people want to use this term like in bringing out there as a game manager, I guess Alex Smith could be your guy. I mean, Russell Wilson was always compared to that, which obviously lately is not the case. He's a little more than that. But Alex Smith, like realistically, is a game manager. He doesn't make too many mistakes. He's not great like on the deep pass, but if you want short passes and rely on the run in your defense, that's the kind of guy that would be perfect in your scheme, and that's exactly maybe why they've been winning the past 10 games straight.
Might sound a little blasphemous to a certain fan base, but he reminds me of Troy Aikman a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, he plays good. He doesn't really have like a lot of like major flaws, and he doesn't fuck up usually, you know.
Mm,
And that's kind of Troy Aikman. Troy Aikman doesn't have a lot of records. He does have 3 rings. The bit that being the major difference.
right.
But I mean, Troy Aikman was just one of those guys that was pretty good. A little bit better than a game manager, obviously. I think Alex Smith is a step up from just a game manager. He can make the throws. I mean, he does have a pretty good arm. But yeah, he's. I mean, you can win championships with a guy as good as Alex Smith. They got close already. It was
I've
with the championship round, I think. I
I've
mean,
been
yeah,
hearing from people that they're predicting the Chiefs to go all the way to the Super Bowl, which doesn't sound unrealistic right
they
now.
are hot. I
They're
definitely think they're
not
going
only
to.
are they hot, but they've been hot for 10 games. Yeah, this like, and no they have no sign of slowing down at all, which is even more crazy. Because even Carolina towards the end of the season showed a little bit of a like they're slowing down, like they're winning games, but they're kind of slowing down. But no, not the Chiefs. They're not slowing down, and that's gonna be the reason why I think they're gonna win this game. 'Cause they already won 10 in a row, and they have their ball rolling, I guess, if you want to put it that way, and it doesn't look like they're gonna come to a halt. If the Texans do beat the Chiefs, I wouldn't be overly surprised either, because
If the
as you
Texans
said,
do beat the Chiefs, it's probably because J.J. Watt was on Alex Smith's ass.
yeah, exactly,
I mean,
and
that's it's going to be the defense is going to have to, pass rush.
yeah,
That's what I think they'll have to do to win successfully.
I wouldn't expect this game to be super high scoring. I think it's gonna be very defensive and everything.
Maybe the winners in the 20s.
Yeah,
I doubt they both are.
exactly.
What do you think of the other game,
The other game,
the other AFC game?
Steelers and Bengals. This is actually gonna be my favorite game to watch in Wild Card Weekend, because just coming from the last time that these two teams saw each other and how many fights broke out and everything. I mean, a fight broke out before the game even started.
Right.
Like that's how crazy it was. And I watched that entire game. What was that, week 13, week 14, somewhere in
That was
there.
pretty recent. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, exactly. Not only did it happen in the season, but it happened too recently that I don't think a lot of these guys forget. Now, as much as I would love to see like these guys just go at it and be just super gritty through the entire game, I do have a really big feeling that both of the coaches would be like, okay, I know you guys fought a lot the last time, but let's be a little more professional this time around. And I'm not expecting too many fights or any fights at all to break out in this game. But that being said, both of these teams are going to play super hard. I mean, it's almost like a divisional matchup, round 3 this time. And
It's for the real. Like,
yeah,
might have really won the championship, like the division, but this is if they lose to the Steelers in the playoffs, then that means nothing. This is really for the division. Like,
yeah.
for real. So,
Now, that being said, who do I predict to win this game? I don't know. I am going to say Steelers. But I think Bengals have a great chance because we don't fully know who's going to be starting as a quarterback for the Bengals. It's looking like Andy Dalton. But honestly, I think what the Bengals should do is pull exactly what the Broncos did to the Chargers in the last week. I think they should start A.J. McCarron, and if they're down and out by halftime, then bring in Andy Dalton and give a whole new play scheme for the second half and get Steelers, kind of off their money, I guess, or like off their rocker, or wherever you want to put it.
yeah.
Just throw them through a loop. Put their defense on a whole different edge that they're not prepared for. But that's my personal opinion.
I think
don't know
if
what they're
Andy
gonna do.
Dalton's ready, he's starting.
That too. Even if he's like 90% ready, I'm like, then start. 80% ready, then start.
It's the playoffs.
Yeah.
There's nothing else to wait for. I'm also going to pick the Steelers, and here's why. On paper, the Bengals are a better team, but for whatever reason, whenever everyone's watching, they lose. And they're going to be watching this game, and they're going to be up against what I call Big Brother in the division, Pittsburgh, who when Pittsburgh is bright lights usually steps up and wins the game. I mean, they gave the Patriots a hell of a game in Week 1,
Yeah.
and they're a team, they're a franchise that's been there and done it. And I just until the Bengals get that monkey off their back, I'm not picking them. I just won't pick them because for whatever reason they're just choked, and they've done it for years. And I know it's like but hey, I mentioned this in the other video. If you want to get rid of that reputation, now's the time. You got the Steelers coming into the playoffs.
Yeah.
You can get rid of that reputation like potentially for good if you win this game. So good luck, but I'm going for this because I've
You
seen them
know,
do it.
you mentioned that the Bengals always play poorly when they're in a primetime game, but they beat the Browns in prime time. Which, okay, I know you're giving me that look of like, okay, it's the Browns. But hey, the Browns gave the Steelers a run for their money just this past week.
Yeah,
Realistically. I
you
mean,
know that one.
you could argue, oh, because it's a divisional game and it's harder and blah, blah,
Yeah,
blah. But I think the reason that people forget that the Bengals beat the Browns on Thursday Night Football is because when that game was done, the
because it was
entire
on purpose.
highlights reel was all about Johnny Manziel. Like that's what pissed me off is because all the highlights showed Johnny Manziel, and I'm like, you're making it look like the Browns won this game, and they didn't. But Tyler Eifert got 3 touchdowns in that game, and he like
Yeah,
did he break the record or tie the record for most touchdown receptions from a tight end in a single game? I think he broke it.
look when they played Monday night against opponents that were real opponents, so they blew it. Was it the Patriots? I think on the Sunday night game, who I guess at the time looked a lot better than they do right now. I don't know. It's gonna be Saturday. Everyone's gonna be watching. This isn't Thursday night football against the Browns. This is wild card weekend against the Steelers.
I'm not saying it's gonna be easier for him or anything.
I know you're playing devil's advocate, saying they have won in a prime time game.
Yeah,
They
pretty
they
much.
usually blow it, and they haven't done it against someone that matters. So I'm not picking them. Steelers all the way.
If anything else, if they are gonna get that monkey off their back for finally winning a playoff game, it's really unfortunate they have to go Steelers first round. Like, honestly, they're playing a
I
wild
mean,
card
it's high
team.
risk, high reward. High risk, high reward.
Yeah,
So
yeah, that's true.
they
But then
win it, it's
again,
gonna be the sweetest fucking victory
you know
they've
what?
had. In,
Bengals would have been screwed either way. If they would play the Steelers or the Chiefs, I wouldn't want to play any of those teams right now. Both of them are hot. Both of them are. Like,
the
I wouldn't want to
Steelers
play either
probably,
one.
if it wasn't divisional, I'd say the Steelers would be the matchup you would want. But since these two teams play each other so often, I don't necessarily think they are the easier matchup.
Yeah.
So,
And
all right.
Steelers playing really good the past 4 or 5 weeks in the season. Really good.
Yeah, minus the week before last
Well, yeah.
when they lost,
I'm
and
not
like the
saying.
first half of the Browns game.
Well, I'm not saying that they won all their games. I'm just saying they're playing really well.
They are. They are.
Uh, I
Yeah.
I'm still gonna pick the Steelers, but man, is that game 50-50. It really is. That's such a
51-49.
toss up. What?
I said 51-49 for you. Yeah. Uh,
So if we want to go
NFC.
NFC, Seahawks
Yeah.
and Vikings.
Seahawks. Flat out. The Vikings did not look like. You know what? Let's just say it. They kind of look like shit. The Packers didn't look too hot either. They lost. You know, Seattle's looked really good. They're on fire. The Vikings are lucky this shit isn't in Seattle. They'd really be fucked.
Yeah, right.
But the only real advantage they have is, I think they were talking about how cold this game could potentially be, like the
Yeah, I guess it's
coldest
only gonna be like 10 degrees.
playoff game ever, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Maybe wild card, but I don't know. I don't remember how cold it was during the Lake Day Ice Bowl.
I mean, oh, remember Ice Bowl 2? That was the biggest letdown to be called Ice Bowl ever. Oh man. They say it's gonna be about 10 degrees, but they say that in northern United States in the Midwest in winter. So even though like the temperature will be 10 degrees, it's probably gonna feel like 0 or below
Yeah.
0 maybe, and it's gonna be cold, which that might throw Seahawks off. I'm gonna go with the Seahawks. Already beat the Vikings in the regular season, and they kind of gave them they kind of gave them an ass
Yeah,
whooping, and that was
it did.
before the Seahawks even got hot. Like that was early in the season. when they weren't
That
looking
was
so
while the
good.
Vikings were looking good.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
So I'm gonna pick Seahawks as well because I think it's the
yeah.
easiest choice to make. Like if I was a betting man, I would probably bet on that game. But
They gotta have opened up as the biggest favorite in the league. I can't see anyone else being a bigger favorite. Not even the Chiefs or the Texans.
yeah, yeah, I agree with that.
Which is crazy because I think three of the four road teams are actually favorites.
Mm.
A few weeks ago, the Packers would have been, but you want to talk about that one?
Not the Packer game or the how they
Yeah,
used to
well,
be looking like favorites.
this game coming up. You want to make a prediction?
Okay, you want me to go first, or you want to go first?
I'll go first. It's more dramatic and see if you're a traitor or not.
Uh,
I'm picking the Redskins. It's to say it. I'll say this though: if we're picking a potential upset, I think this is the game that the challenger has the best shot of winning out of any of them. I almost want to say that about the Bengals, but I know you might say that, and I'm as far as your other pick. I don't know what you're gonna say, but I'm gonna say the Packers have a pretty good shot of beating the Redskins because the Packers have a solid defense, and if they can mess up. I mean, this is the first time a lot of these players have even been to the postseason,
yeah.
and on Packers side, they've been there, done that. Wild card round, you know, season. They're probably a little bit more for this. I mean, a lot of these guys won a Super Bowl on the road already, and they didn't really go into that wild card looking like that great when they won.
Yeah, I know.
So who knows? Just all of a sudden say, "Hey, I'm good again, and I'm the best quarterback in the league again," and just turn it up. Who knows? But I'm not picking against the Redskins at home because past history maybe, but they've just been really down lately, and the Redskins have looked really good. And I'm gonna go with the Redskins on this, but potential for an upset. There you go.
Before I say what my pick is, I'm gonna say a couple things that has been noted before this game has begun. The first thing is a lot of people are saying talking about Kirk Cousins. His stats are actually extremely comparable to Aaron Rodgers this year. And a lot of people are saying that Kirk Cousins, especially the last four games, has been looking more like Aaron Rodgers than actual Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
Uh,
Well,
I
they kind
think,
of had the opposite season.
yeah,
One started good and went down. One started off kind of rough and got better.
exactly.
I can see the stats being similar.
I think it's like really like Kirk Cousins had 29 touchdowns, Aaron Rodgers had 31. Um, Kirk Cousins had like 58% or it was like a 60% completion rating. Aaron Rodgers like 59 or 60% completion rating. Kirk Cousins had 4,000 yards. Aaron Rodgers had 3,800 yards passing. Pretty close, pretty close.
Yeah, yeah.
Granted, yes, Redskins have won their last four games in a row to definitely take over their division, to actually get a winning record. So thank God every team has a winning record in the playoffs this year.
Right, right. They at least made it not shameful.
There is a statistic that speaks out to me a little bit, though.
Okay.
Out of their 9 wins, all 9 of those wins came from a team that had a lower than 500 record. Now, granted, six of
Were
those
six of them against their
six of them
division?
were against their division because they were the only winning record in their division.
Right.
But it kind of speaks out loud that they came from a shitty division. I mean, the NFC least this year
Yeah.
came from a shitty division. So and they didn't even win all those games either.
No.
So you can't even count that. That's just six easy wins for them. They didn't even win all of them. And then every other game they played, or that they've got a win from, did not have a winning record. Packers do have a winning record. They were 6-0. Obviously, they're not playing like they did when they were 6-0. But with all of that being said, I think Washington might be one of the more overrated teams in the playoffs this year. I'm going to believe in the Packers. My upset pick of this week is going to the Packers to beat Washington.
All right.
I gotta believe in the home team. I got to, but I at least explained a little bit as to my reasoning why,
No, I
instead of
get
just
it.
being
You're a
like
Packers
the
fan,
Packers
yeah.
all the way, Super Bowl
No,
2015.
that's a lot of the stuff you said is why I think it is why I picked them as a potential upset. And I
Mm,
think on your side, you probably say that if one one game went the other way, that didn't surprise you. Probably be Bengals being still right.
yeah.
Okay. But that'd be my number two. If we're going in reverse order, the biggest lock I think is Seattle over Minnesota.
Oh, definitely the biggest
Yeah,
lock. Although you know what, even though I say that's the biggest lock, how exciting would it be to see the Vikings beat Seattle?
right.
Like it would be the craziest. Like they're probably the craziest game of the entire playoffs if Vikings beat Seattle in the wild card. Like
I agree.
honestly,
And wild shit always happens in wild card weekend.
I know that's wild.
Wow. Uh, that's about it, though. I think, huh? I mean, wild card weekend. That's our picks.
hmm
Uh, Steelers, Chiefs, Seattle, and then we're the opposite on the Washington and
Do
Green Bay
we?
game.
Do you want to? Since we did our playoff predictions from week one, do you want to make bold predictions right now? Who you think is going to make the Super Bowl, or would that be alluding too much
We we
into?
we could. I mean, we'll make a division round prediction.
Yeah.
To, but if we're just looking at it right now, wild card weekend, I think I really think from the NFC, I haven't played that hot lately, but I still think that they look like the best team. AFC Championship prediction from wild card weekend in Seattle, and well, they might end up meeting if they don't meet each other in the divisional round, Seattle and Carolina.
Hold on a
If they
second.
do, then
We're having a little technical difficulties. Your internet kind of broke up a little bit. So, who is the
okay.
team from NFC you're predicting to be in the Super Bowl?
I think Carolina looks like the best team. So,
Okay.
and if NFC Championship right now, to me, if they don't meet each other, looks like Seattle and Carolina.
Okay.
So yeah, AFC wise, and the Broncos or the Chiefs. The Broncos have that advantage. It's I could see the Chiefs too. If I'm just going out, I'm picking. See, I don't want to necessarily do number one seeds, but I think I am. At least judging from right now.
Uh huh.
So I think I'm probably gonna say Broncos and Panthers.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Mine, bold statement, Cotton. Um, I'm gonna say Arizona on NFC and the Chiefs on AFC.
See, I thought about Arizona, but after they just got their ass whipped by Seattle, I don't know. They lost. I lost faith in them.
I haven't yet.
Okay, well
I
we'll find out.
Yeah.
In next week. So yeah, we'll recap all this, I guess, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're gonna have everything set in stone for wild card. Um, Probably then next week we'll do another late call talking about anything that's up in the news. We could, well, we'd probably talk about this off the air, but we could talk about the whole LA teams for wild card. We could even do that this week, realistically, if we wanted to. And then we'll keep doing it each round. So AFC predictions this week. We'll see how accurate we are to our predictions, to who's actually making it to the divisional rounds, make our divisional round predictions, and then see how accurate we are to the championship rounds, and so on and so forth. And then we'll definitely have a Pro Bowl special. We'll have a Super Bowl special.
I don't know if I'm signing up for Pro Bowl, but
Well, we can at least talk about it, for God's sake.
just make a video of me going.
Hey, the Pro Bowl I thought was actually a little more exciting last year.
It has been getting better. It
Yeah.
has been getting better. I'll say that much. I don't know how I feel about the lack of NFC AFC, but it still has become better. So I don't know. I have weird feelings about the Pro Bowl. I guess we can do a video and talk about the Pro Bowl.
That's exactly.
I guess we can.
All right,
Yeah,
sounds good.
and we'll do a video for each recap, like we do for each game.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Great. Well, I think, like always, you can always like us on Facebook and Twitter. There's links in the description below. And I don't know. I'm just waiting for the weekend now. You know, waiting for the playoffs. It's very bittersweet, isn't it? That you're excited that the playoffs are here, but you're sad when it's like the Super Bowl's done. That means like the whole season's over.
I mean, especially when your team doesn't make it.